So we're continuing in Issurei of the Rambam, the 13th chapter. We're going through the laws of conversion. So the laws of conversion are found in chapter 13 and 14 of Hilchos Issurei. Again, we're using the Machbili edition. It doesn't necessarily align with the version we find in Chabad. So in case there's any differences, we are, at least in this edition, in this Girsa, we are in Halacha Dalet, the 4th Halacha, while in the Chabad version, Zion, the 7th Halacha. Now, to quickly recap, the Rambam is bringing down the procedure that Israel had to go through to enter the covenant, which is what? Tevila, Mila, Korban, immersion, circumcision, and sacrifice. He started off the chapter explaining that the exact same thing that solidified the Hebrews into the covenant, that made them the nation of Israel, is also the same thing that solidifies converts under, like he calls it, the wings of the Shekhinah, or brings them into the covenant, as he says. We also spoke about the idea of a ger katan, a child, a possible baby who converts to Judaism, on how it's a benefit for that child, on how can we convert someone who hasn't chosen to become Jewish unless it's to his or her benefit, solidifying the idea that it's a schus to be a yid. It's a great thing to be Jewish and not remain a noide. But anyways, this halacha is talking about the position or stance you should take when someone comes to you and says that they converted, either with no witnesses or under a beit din that they can't verify exists. It starts off, halacha dalet, taval beno leven atzmo. If he toiveled himself, he immersed himself privately, v'nitgayer beno leven atzmo, and he converted privately, ve'afilu b'pnei shnayim, even if he did this in front of two witnesses, einu ger, he's not a true convert. So it's interesting, in Yerideh and Shulchan Aruch, under the chapter that deals with conversions, he actually says, Rabbi Yosef Karo says, that if somebody converts with two witnesses, it's kosher. It's kosher b'diavad. After the fact, it's acceptable. So this is one disagreement that the Rambam has with Rabbi Yosef Karo. The truth is, the Talmud itself actually doesn't give a number. There was an article written by, I think you guys could look this up online, by Rabbi Broidy. I'm pretty sure he's a YU Musmach, that wrote a whole essay trying to explain the idea of someone converting themselves to Judaism without any witnesses watching them immerse. Why? Because if the Talmud doesn't actually give a number, to then try to disqualify someone who converts on their own would in some way be going against Chazal. But anyways, we see here that the Rambam is adamant that you need 3. But it's interesting, why does he even bring this up? Because there's an instance in the Talmud of someone converting to Judaism alone. Because again, we can't forget what the Gemara says in Masechet Shabbat, Daf Samech Chet Amud Aleph, where it talks about what? Ger shenitgayer leven hagoyim, a convert who converts among the nations. And if we keep reading, Rabbi Akiva actually rules that such a convert is not only a valid convert, but he says that if he's mechalel Shabbat, if he breaks Shabbat, he's liable to death penalty. And this is why it's no coincidence we have the Rambam bringing it down here, in some way disagreeing with Rabbi Akiva, which is weird, but anyways, we'll move on. Bava mad nitkayarti bebeidino shelifloni. And if he comes and he says that I converted in so-and-so court, vehit biloni, and they immersed me, enu ne'eman, he's not believed, lavao bakahal, to enter the community, ad sheyava'i edim, till he brings actual witnesses. Now it's interesting here where it says Einu ne'eman le'avo b'kahal, that we don't believe him to enter the kahila. Elsewhere, the Rambam and many Meforshim explain this, that this always refers to marrying into the Jewish people. To enter the kahila means to actually marry someone, which means that the understanding is that if someone says they converted and they don't have proof for it, they can enter a synagogue. You could even count them in a minyan. But unless they come to get married, you need proof, because at that point, it begins to involve somebody else. If we can validate that someone's Jewish and they marry a Jewish person, this could either paint a very bad picture for the family in the future if it's a man who's claiming this and he marries a Jewish woman, or even worse, if it's a woman marrying a man, then the status of the children is in some way in jeopardy. Hayanasule Yisraelit, and if he marries a Jewish woman, ole giyoret, or a Jewish convert, v'yesh lo banim, and he has children, Ve'amar nitkiyarti beini leven atzmo, and then he says that he converted alone. Ne'eman livsol et atzmo, that he is believed only in order to disqualify himself. Ve'enu ne'eman livsol et habanim, but he is not believed in order to disqualify his kids. Now, this portion is a little confusing here. I tried to bring up sources, and the sources seem to interpret this portion differently in about 3 different commentaries. Some interpret it that yes, as it says that he disqualifies himself but not his children, assuming the woman he married didn't convert along with him, which is why it says Yisraelit ole Gioret, that this female convert in some way has the same status as an Israelite woman, but not that they came together. So being that Jewishness travels to the mother, we believe his statement in terms of him converting himself in order to disqualify himself, but it doesn't disqualify his children, because if a non-Jewish man procreates with a Jewish woman, the children are still Jewish. The more confusing understanding is to assume that this means that if they both converted together, meaning the husband and wife were both converts, the reason we don't disqualify the children is because at such a point we would make the children reconvert. But I think the previous explanation makes a lot more sense. But anyways, it ends, Vechozer vetovel bebeit din, that he's made to immerse again. Or the other understanding that this is talking about the children, that we make an exception for them at that moment and convert them again.